some more.
Yo, what's good, people? Izzy Max here, back again with another gym defense video. This week I'm playing against my good friend Johnny. I'm bringing pretty much the same team as I brought last week, other than I am switching out the Volcarona for Charizard. Figured I'd give it a try. Charizard's on my team. I do think Volcarona is objectively better with what I have, but we're gonna go ahead and give it a try. So without further ado, if you enjoyed this, please do leave a like. We are at like 95 subs, so we are almost to 100. Hopefully gonna get it by the end of the month, hopefully by the end of the week. But yeah, I have a couple series going on now. I have a lot of tier list videos. I'm enjoying those a lot. I'm going to continue to do those. And then I do have the Pawn Lock with Lantern Joe, which is really fun. You guys should go check it out. Most recent video dropped yesterday. So if you missed that, be sure to go back and check that out. And without further ado, let's jump into this. So seeing what he has, he kind of has a Pseudo Rain with a Togekiss and a Lycanroc. I decide to lead kind of conservative on my part. So I go ahead and I believe I just start with the Sand Core, but I'm not 100% sure. I will fast forward just a little bit. Yeah, so I start with my Sand Core here, and we're gonna go ahead and jump into the match. This is fast forwarded. This is a best of 3 6v6 doubles, so this is going to be a rather longer match. But he does end up leading the Togekiss, and he is switching out to overwrite my Sand, which is what I expected. So I go ahead and send Tyranitar back into my Gallade. I was expecting a fighting move from the Poliwrath, but he is just going to go ahead and max the Poliwrath, which is honestly kind of threatening. It does hit relatively hard, and I'm just going to max my Excadrill here, as I am Focus Sash, and I honestly think he was aiming for the T-Tar, so it wasn't going to be a big deal here. As he does just go for the Max Knuckle into the Gallade. This is a supportive Gallade again this week. It just, again, fits with what I need. And seeing that his main threat is physical, I go ahead and go for the Max Steel Spike. And if he didn't switch out, the Togekiss was probably going down there. Next, I am just going to go ahead and Ally Switch. If he watched my recent video, he's going to realize that this is going to be a supportive set on the Gallade. So I went ahead and said, you're probably not going to target the Gallade. But he does end up switching out his Politoed as I go for the Ally Switch. And we do see the Max Geyser, so I did call the switch correctly. And we're able to live with just 11 HP and do some relatively good damage to the Alolan Persian, while also getting our Sand back up. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that he's just going to reset the weather with his Politoed. But nevertheless, if he does, I'm faster. If he doesn't, oh well. I am just going to go for the Steel Spike again, and expecting a Fake Out, I click Quick Guard. But they are evidently on the same priority table, so I couldn't do anything with that. As Steel Spike does just go right back into the Persian, as we do get another defensive boost, which is fine with me because this is a physical water move and we are able to live it. Even though I am Focus Sash, it doesn't matter too much. We do get the leftover recovery, and then we're all done with our Dynamax turns. Overall, he played this really well. Here, I am just going to protect and attempt to just KO something here with close combat, because it is still hitting pretty hard even though I'm not invested. So here I do protect, as he does take the liquidation into the Excadrill, and close combat here is able to knock out the Alolan Persian, even though it was a crit, or it wasn't a crit, never mind. For some reason I thought it was, but we're able to get that thing out of the way. If you have been watching my VGC Draft League videos, the season just ended, but you know, I know what Persian does. It's a relatively good support mon. And then out next comes the Dragapult. Knowing that I am probably going down here, I am going to go ahead and try to get it off as much damage as possible. because I know he's not going to be aiming for the Gallade. So I went ahead and reset my weather so I could outspeed the Poliwrath. As Ironhead comes out, does about 50%, which isn't the worst. I know this is not the occasional Dragapult, as my Excadrill does end up going down there, which is what I expected. So now I have the Sand Up, and I go ahead and go into my Rillaboom. This thing does have Grassy Glide and Fake Out. So I am going to be able to get some really good damage off pretty much everything that I can hit. I believe he ends up going for an Ally Switch on the Dragapult here. Even with Speed Up, this match is still going to take a minute. We pretty much went to timer every turn. We were just talking in chat. But there he does switch things up as Tyranitar goes down. Not a huge deal. I wasn't expecting the Ally Switch at first when I seen Dragon Darts. But the Dragapult is taken care of. That thing could still do a lot of damage depending on how it was invested. But here I'm in a bad spot. This he still has his Rain with Politoed in the back, which is out right now. And I really don't have too much more offensive power because I do have the Charizard this week. And it really doesn't want to be in the rain at all. And that's something that Volcarona can kind of take advantage of because it does carry more than just fire coverage, because the other coverage on my Charizard is Solar Beam, and that's not wanted here. I have Solar Beam just because if I wanted to max it, it could do what it needed to. But here the Grassy Glide comes out, and he ends up protecting, as the Ally Switch kind of just put me in a position to where nothing really happened that turn other than Rillaboom taking a little bit of damage. And then here, I believe, yeah, I'm just going to go for straight up damage. I need to get something off the field. And seeing what he brought was actually really good prep, knowing that I do have the Rillaboom, and that's really my only answer to some water types. He actually brought it for the Volcarona, which is kind of interesting. But here, I do go for the Grassy Glide. It is almost going to KO through a berry, which was honestly surprising. Granted, I think he is a couple points. I think he might have dropped his defense prior to that. But Gallade finally is able to go down here. And the thing is here, no matter who I target, they're going down with Grassy Glide. Do I bring in Charizard? I think I do, yeah. So I brought in Charizard here because it honestly isn't doing anything else. And I figured they would probably try to target it. So I end up protecting it, trying to just call out some things. The Grassy Glide is able to knock out the Politoed. And I kind of targeted wrong. If I would have targeted the correct way, or just not protected at all, I could have been in a better spot. I just figured he would be trying to go after the Charizard. But out comes the Lycanroc. I know for a fact I have no way out of this, which is kind of frustrating a little bit. I don't remember actually what happens in this turn here. Oh, he goes for a Rock Slide, and I reveal my berry. And then I am able to knock out the Poliwrath. And then somehow I am faster, but he has Choice Scarf, or Focus Sash. So he's able to live and then knock me out with a Play Rough. And once I'm in this position, I know for a fact that I've lost. Charizard can't really do anything to a Lycanroc plus anything else. And then out comes the Togekiss, so I knew just follow me shenanigans and we would be fine. I'm actually going to, fast forward out of this game and into the next one. Let me back up a little bit here. I end up leading a little bit differently. So I noticed that Rillaboom gave his team a lot of problems. So I'm going to go ahead and lead it with my Haxorus, kind of go a little more offensive for a lead. And I don't think he was really expecting it, because he just straight up led his Rain Core, which is really, really nice for me. And I know that my Haxorus can't really do anything for the rest of the match. It wasn't too terribly important. But here I am just going to go ahead and G-Max Drum Solo, because this is a super strong move. And then switch out, because I know you're not going to be targeting Haxorus with a fighting move or a water move. So I figured I'd just go ahead and get my Tyranitar in. Go ahead and set up the sand, take away the rain, kind of lower the power on some of his moves, and lower his speed, because if he's not invested, I will be faster. I do believe he is invested, though. Helping Hand, Close Combat, into the Rillaboom. Does a good chunk. But even with his berry, I mean, I don't even think the drop from Close Combat really mattered. But we are able to knock out one of the bigger threats that gave me problems in Game 1. Granted, I am having to use my max turns early in the game, and I know that's not really what you want to do in 6v6 doubles, but it's kind of what I felt like I had to do. So now he's kind of in a rough spot. He has rain up, or he has his rain setter, but really nothing to go with it. And fearing a follow me, I targeted like this. And what's funny is he actually has Aura Sphere on his Togekiss specifically for the T-Tar, but I end up living it and getting my weakness policy procced. So I end up knocking out the Persian and the Togekiss, which puts me right now in a really, really good position. I've knocked out 3 Mons and he hasn't really touched my 2 at all. I mean, I guess T-Tar is at half, Rillaboom just a little above half. But this is where it kind of turns around. So he didn't bring Cinderace in Game 1. I don't remember what he had instead. But this thing is a huge, huge, huge problem. Knowing that my T-Tar is probably dying here, like no matter what, T-Tar is going to die. I figured I would just get off as much damage as possible, because this is going to be Libero. And we do now see the flying move into the Rillaboom. And it's going to take me out, which is fine for the most part. Rillaboom kind of did its job. And then Close Combat here is going to be able to knock out my Tyranitar. And now I'm kind of scared, because I have to bring in Excadrill, or else my Sand's going to be up and Excadrill is going to be kind of useless. And I don't really want that to happen, because Excadrill can hit really, really hard. So here I do just go for the Rock Slide. I am still faster than the Cinderace, which is a good thing. And he withdraws and goes to set back up the rain, so now I am not faster. And he does end up changing himself back into fire and knocking me down to my Sash. I'm pretty sure any move he would have went for would have done that anyway. But here Stomping Tantrum does a good bit of damage. And I get the Rock Slide off, and now the Politoed has to eat his berry. I am not feeling confident, and I even told him in chat, like, I do believe you win this game. There's nothing I can really do other than stall out this last turn. So I do believe he goes for a fighting move to take my last bit of HP on the Excadrill, which there was no point in me doing anything else other than this. Because if he would have targeted the Haxorus, it would have lived, and I would have been kind of in the same position. And then we do see Icy Wind now on the Politoed, which is all well and good. So now I don't have any terrain. He has the rain up. And I have a useless Charizard because he does have the rain, and a Gallade who really has just one attack. So if you couldn't tell, this is sped up, and I spent a lot of time deciding on this. So I know that I am faster than the Politoed, 100%. And I'm going to expect this to do some sort of damage. I'm actually hoping for a flinch. But instead he goes for a bounce, which was really interesting. So now I Dragon Claw, and I actually do get the flinch, which was unfortunate. But I now know he's a flying type and can't change it. So we didn't know how this worked, first of all. The helping hand into the bounce. And it ends up getting a crit. I don't know if it mattered too much. I mean, he's at +1. And I do just end up knocking him out with an Air Slash. So now I am in crunch time here. He does have his rock type, but I haven't revealed Quick Guard yet. Because I got faked out the first time I used it. So I'm going to protect and close combat into the Lycanroc, trying to kind of gauge what it's going to do. Because I know this will at least knock it down to Sash, which it does. And now, I mean, Politoed's going to hit, but Gallade has pretty good special defense, even at -1. He does get the burn, but that doesn't really matter. And then the sun is gone, so this is really good, because now I can actually start firing off Heat Waves. And, I mean, they'll kind of do some damage. It is just a spread move. But now I finally go for... I believe I don't actually click Ally Switch. No. Okay, I actually click Quick Guard. And Excel Rock doesn't hit, because if it did, I would have 100% lost this match. We get the crit on the Politoed, but it probably just did 3 more extra damage. As Gallade still doesn't die here. And he does end up forfeiting after this match, so we now are 1-1. And then into game 2, I figured I was going to lead different again. I did like the Rillaboom lead, and right here before the game gets started, there was a rule in this league that me or my opponent wasn't really for sure about. I am going to end up Gigantamaxing my Charizard here. I'll go ahead and let it play out. Just know that I'm not actually allowed to do this. Once I show my Gigantamax, that's the one I have to use for the rest of the match. So, again, this rule was weirdly worded. We do have confirmation now from the chairman that this is how the rule is supposed to work. So this play here is kind of illegal. Me and Johnny talked about it. He doesn't really care. I didn't either. I told him I'll take the W in the match. You can I'll take the L in the rules, but I'm gonna definitely gloat with the win. And we just kind of agreed on it. But here I do just go ahead and set up the grassy terrain. Again, I wasn't expecting him to actually switch out, which was weird. But then I make a really good play here, and I decide, hey, let's just make T-Tar really fast. This is a decently bulky T-Tar. It's like max HP, decent bit in defense, and then the rest in attack. As he does just go for a follow me, this is what I expected. And he parting shots probably out into Politoed, which I don't care. I'm using this scenario here as setup. So we do a decent chunk to the Togekiss with the Airstream. And here is when I actually decide to use the, not Centiferno, Wildfire. Because the residual is going to kind of be important in the future of this match. Mostly breaking the Sash on the Lycanroc. But we do get the Wildfire off. It literally does no damage. And then Rock Slide knocks the Togekiss out. So that is one threat dealt with, and he scalds my Charizard as the Wildfire is starting to do what it should. Charizard now is kind of useless to me. I know it did win me game 2, but it's at like -2, I think. No, -1. He just parting shotted. So I am just going to switch it out. I'm expecting a rock move into the Charizard. So this is really just who cares damage. But I do decide to protect because I do know the Lycanroc has close combat. And that will one-shot me. And that's what he ends up doing. And then the Scald, he was hoping for the burn. Unfortunately, he didn't get it, but we do break the Focus Sash here. And then all this residual stuff takes forever. Because we do have the Wildfire, we had the Berry, we have all the leftovers, we have the Grassy Terrain. It just took a long while. But here I am just going to go Grassy Glide. It is a really, really good move, boosted by the Grassy Terrain, Stab, Priority. And it's going to pretty much one-shot either of these two Mons. And then Crunch is going to do a good chunk as well. I don't remember. I think he... Okay, yeah, he does withdraw. But, again, that thing is at... Doesn't have his Focus Sash. But here he actually maxes his Politoed, which we had a good laugh about. So now he just randomly has a max Politoed, and I do a good amount of damage there with the Grassy Glide as he clicks max Hailstorm. I believe this is from Icy Wind, so it does a good chunk of damage, knowing what move it's based off. So here we just do a lot more damage with the Wildfire, and T-Tar is still at full health and at +1 speed. I still have the Grassy Terrain. Oh, I don't have the Grassy Terrain anymore. Okay, so I switch out into Gallade here. Again, this is just my supported Mon. And I am going to protect again with T-Tar. I just need to... This turn is for me to get into a position to actually do something else other than what I was doing. As we do just see the Fake Out, so no big deal. And the Hailstorm doesn't do really anything. I don't have the Sand Up, which is kind of unfortunate. But I am still doing good damage with the Wildfire. If he would have went for a Scald on my T-Tar, I would probably be in a really, really bad position. But knowing that the Persian is going to probably die to the Wildfire, I decide not to... not to close combat it, because I almost did. And then here we do see the Geyser into the Tyranitar doing a load of damage. And now I am at +2/+2, but at super low health, +1 speed. I don't really know what I'm outspeeding because I don't have any speed investment at all. I know for a fact it's not going to be this thing. So I do end up switching out the Tyranitar, as weird as it sounds, and I just go for Wide-Guard expecting like an Icy Wind or something. I don't want my speed dropped. So I'm sending out Charizard here as a sack, as it does what it's supposed to. It's supposed to go in and die, and this is for me to reset my my weather later on in the game, because knowing what he has left, I feel like the Sand Core is a really good late game cleanup. But I do just send out Rillaboom again, as his Rain Core really can't handle Rillaboom. And I show Fake Out for the first time. Last time I tried faking out, he faked me out, so he didn't get to see it. But he helping hands as I fake out the Mon, which was unfortunate for him, and I finally knock out his Rain Setter. There's the crit I was talking about earlier. I don't know if it mattered, because I just don't know. I do know I do have some attack drops on me, but I don't know how much that crit mattered. Anyway, I believe he's just down to 2 Mons. 2 or 3. But either way, I still have my priority with Rillaboom, because he doesn't have a way to get rid of my terrain. Which we know that he does have the Grass Berry. Oh, he does have Cinderace left. So Cinderace is an issue. I do just go for an ally switch again. Once you reveal ally switch, it's definitely a mental game about when you're going to click it again. But Grassy Glide's going to do about 50, so I'm okay with that. As that finally ends up knocking out both of my Pokemon, which was kind of unfortunate, but this is what I saved my Sand for. I know that the Poliwrath is a problem, but it's not faster than my Excadrill anymore. And I know that he kind of needs to go for the Excadrill, but if he doesn't, I am protecting with my T-Tar. So he cannot kill either one of my Mons this turn unless I miss the high horsepower, which would have sucked. He probably would have won the game if I would have missed. But with the Protect, I knock out the Cinderace. He targets either my T-Tar, doesn't kill it, or it targets the Excadrill, which I drop down to Sash. He ends up targeting the Tyranitar, which was unfortunate, because now I guarantee have 2 turns with my Sand Core. And honestly, I don't care if T-Tar even dies, because Excadrill is the Mon that's going to be doing the most damage. And without his Focus Sash, Accelerock surprisingly doesn't kill, but I end up knocking out with Iron Head. And he ends up targeting the Excadrill this time, but I am hanging on with the Focus Sash. And then Superpower is going to finally clean up the match and kill the Poliwrath. So GG to Johnny. He is a great battler. Me and him competed at Collinsville together. And a really good friend of mine. We went to the same college. But without further ado, like I said, if you enjoyed, please leave a like. Again, we were almost at 100 subs. And I know Johnny's watching this. Good job, man. Really fun match. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed, I will see you in the next one. Peace.